Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Eli Tan. He's a crypto reporter with CoinDesk with a focus on NFTs, gaming, and Web3. Eli, it's great to have you with us at Market Site. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, you and I just came back from Consensus by CoinDesk, the largest and oldest digital asset conference in Austin, Texas. What were some of the key themes that you picked up on?
Well, going into the conference, I think spirits were definitely pretty high, right? The main takeaway I had was that there are a lot of people building in the space. There are a lot of people really committed to it. It's really easy to look at the price of these coins, the price of Bitcoin, and kind of worry or have concerns long term. But when you're really on the ground talking to a lot of people that are kind of making the space work, I think that the space is in good hands, and there are a lot of people still very committed to it.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I started covering Consensus in 2018, and it tended to be more of a blockchain store of value kind of theme, but I was impressed by the diversity of projects and how the underlying technology is being deployed across a number of verticals. So I agree with you there. Speaking of the crypto market downturn, how is it affecting alternative asset markets like NFTs?
Yeah, so it's actually having a really big impact on NFTs right now. It's a little bit concerning for a lot of people because typically the NFT market has kind of been heralded as its own asset class. The price of coins like Bitcoin, Ether, they haven't really affected NFTs too much. But right now, what we're seeing is that it's being really, it's being hit really hard. The underlying currency of kind of the whole NFT market is Ether, and it's been down 40–50% in the last week. So that has kind of made the sentiment around buying and selling NFTs a little bit more tepid than it's been. The market itself is, it's small compared to the entire crypto market, right? But it's still at its peak, I think, $40–50 billion market. That's pretty significant, I think, in the larger scheme of things.
I also thought it was interesting at Consensus. We heard a lot about how brands are leveraging NFTs, whether to unlock social experiences or another distribution channel for the brand, or special releases of certain product that are getting folks interested in it. It's almost allowing for a more personalized experience. Have you picked up on that as well, how brands are using NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've heard from a lot of people that NFTs, they're this new asset class, but they're also kind of this entertainment class, right?
Right.
It's all about the attention economy, and right now a lot of attention is on NFTs, so that's where the brands naturally go. With the market in a downturn, we'll see how that kind of holds out for the long term, but at the moment, yeah, a lot of brands are still very committed to having a Web3.
What's the sentiment around Web3 for investors and VCs? Where are they interested?
I think investors are probably a bit nervous. I've talked to a lot of Web3 founders, and the founders are actually in a really good spot because most of them raised, they had these really large either token raises or capital raises, in the past year. They raised a ton of money, really big valuations, and I think the VCs are going to be the ones that are sweating it out a bit more. So it's actually, I think, a good sign in the next year or two, just because the people that are actually building these products, they're going to have capital to kind of continue building. But for the VCs, I'm sure the valuations will go down, and they'll have to reassess a lot of their investments.
When you think about a downturn in the market, do you think it's also an opportunity to kind of shake out the outliers a bit and figure out who's here for the longer term and what projects might not be around for the longer term?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be true in NFTs. I know that's a larger theme of these bear markets, right? The weak are kind of fleshed out, and then the strong kind of become stronger. I think that'll be true for NFTs. I know there have been a lot of NFT skeptics, they've kind of been preying on the downfall of this industry for a while, and right now I think that they're, kind of raising the victory flag a little bit, but I think it's just too early to see the longevity of this market and where it goes.
But on the other token, pardon the pun, when we've seen downturns in the crypto space, and we've been through 6 or 7 bear markets at this point, I feel like this is also the time when you see the most innovation come out of the space, where there's new projects being launched or bringing on new talent, and there are some opportunities in these bear market cycles.
Yeah, definitely. With NFTs, the thing is a little bit different. Something like Bitcoin, right? It's an asset that's been around since 2013. Mm-hmm. We've seen multiple cycles of it, right? With NFTs, the rise to popularity really came last spring, last summer. So this is kind of the first year of seeing how this market behaves. So we've kind of seen, it all go up, it all go down, and yeah, I don't think anyone, can say for certain what the future holds for it. Unlike people can kind of predict for other cycles that have had more legs to them.
All right, Eli, I appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.